Ready for rule number 3? Rule number 3 is simplify your language by shaping complex behavior. So, like I mentioned earlier, rules number 1 through 2 focus on motivating your horse. How are you going to motivate your horse? Rules 3 through 5 are going to start talking about communicating with your horse. How are we going to ensure that they're understanding what we're asking? Shaping is a term that was coined by B.F. Skinner, who did a lot of research in the field of behaviorism. And basically, how he defined it was rewarding successive approximations of complex behavior. I'm going to give you a simpler way of understanding that here in a second. But he did a lot of research with, I believe, pigeons, and he did research with rats. And would start teaching them behaviors by rewarding little movements at first. Like if he wanted them to touch a lever, he would, at first reward them just looking towards that lever and then kind of nosing around it and then actually pushing it. So a simpler way of thinking about shaping, or simpler definition, is we've got to reward the smallest try. An example of this is, let's talk about teaching your horse the Spanish walk. Okay, that's when they kind of lift their legs up high as they're walking. So I would break that down into kind of a chain of steps that I'm going to reward. Okay, so first I might reward just lifting the foot. Okay, then I might reward stepping forward and lifting. Then I might go and ask the horse for more height and lift, okay, and continue building that behavior using these little steps. But the hard thing is that we've got to first of all identify the first step. And a lot of people, to the untrained eye, they'll miss the first step, okay? And the second thing is that when you start advancing, and you've got to know when to advance to asking your horse for more. And I think that's the hard thing, is finding that balance. People either come in asking for everything all at once, or asking, for the end result right from the get-go. Okay, those are people who ask for too much, and the horse gets frustrated. They don't understand what they're asking. There's also people who will stay here forever because they don't know when to move on. So when your horse has mastered, every time they're confident, when you ask them what's 2 plus 2, they say 4, then you start advancing them, okay? And taking a little bit less from them. And then once you advance them, sometimes they will get confused and lose their confidence, but you have something to go back to, okay? So that's kind of how that process works. And we'll cover, again, a lot more specific examples of this in the video series.